because you've got the legal element of migration, which comes down to student visas, spouses, etc., and the illegal element of it, i.e. what's going on in the Channel. Let's tackle that big line first. Theresa May today, it's the latest line, which is that she's warning Rishi Sunak not to water down the modern slavery aspects of it. She's prioritising, it would appear, quotes unquote, victims, whereas I think some other people may be thinking, well, hang on a minute, maybe we should prioritise the borders. What's the actual latest? What could be watered down?
She's also prioritising herself, Patrick, because it is one of her remaining legacies in place as Prime Minister, because she brought this legislation in. So she obviously doesn't want that to be undone. The things that can be watered down is because the Modern Slavery Act has been used by lots of Albanian refugees. Well, you might call them migrants, actually, because there is no war in Albania. What they are escaping is more poverty, is more economic migration. They're here looking for jobs, and sometimes illegally. So, but when they start using Modern Slavery Act, that they are claiming that they have been victims of human trafficking, and that is what holds up the asylums processing system so much that it takes over a year these days to kind of process any of this stuff. And when half of them are Albanians, it is an easy thing for Rishi Sunak to target. So that if the definition of what counts as a modern slave or human trafficking is watered down a bit more, then that means that the process will be sped up. So, of course, if you're concerned about that, like Theresa May is, then you will be concerned about the watering down process. But, I mean, you can't have one without the other.
I mean, it is a really difficult subject to kind of tackle, isn't it? I mean, all over the world, there are countries struggling with this. Australia doesn't have a set answer. America doesn't have a set answer. Neither do we. But Rishi Sunak says he's going to clear the asylum backlog by the end of 2023. Seems like an impossible task, doesn't it? Has he set himself up for failure, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem rather impossible, actually, because we have a record amount of backlog in the asylum processing system, as well as record backlog in anything else. So I think part of it is because of COVID, that we have a backlog, bureaucratic backlog, because people have been just working from home or not really properly working over the last few years when it comes to various parts of government. That's one thing. But another thing is also just being a bit more smart about the way you're processing things. So, for example, it is possible to say about countries that have no war, whether civil or otherwise, have no other situation to be escaping from other than just, poverty and a lack of employment prospects. It is possible just to blanket say, well, these countries, people from these countries, let's consider them not in until they have proven otherwise, rather than the other way around. So I feel like he has set himself a target. Targets are not always necessarily bad, but it could be a mark scheme to mark him against this time next year.